What's up, legends? Welcome back to the second matchup that we have for tonight as we continue on with our playoffs for the Dead by Daylight League. My name is Spokermann, and before we start yapping about anything, I want to give a quick introduction to my co-caster, which is going to be Mr. Edgar. How are you doing, good sir?
Dude, I am so chilled out right now. We're finally at the playoffs, Season 9 playoffs, and I'm on the desk, and I'm with Spoker. This is like the greatest day of my life, except it could, of course, be better. We could be at the finals instead, but there are a couple of bridges to cross before that. What we just saw was a hell of a matchup. Calamity going the distance against Elysium. I don't think anyone was really expecting that to happen, right? Calamity, of course, are going to be knocked down to the lower bracket, so they do have a chance in this. And with such a strong performance in the first matchup, there is no guarantee that they end up leaving our tournament tomorrow, right? However, today we have a bit of a clash of the titans, right? Elysium had the honor of choosing their opponent in first place, so of course they picked fourth place Calamity. So we have two teams who are on paper quite even we have two teams who are quite even on paper, right? In the head-to-head matchup, Ariandel did actually win that one. Ariandel, I believe they handed Eternal their first loss of the entire season thus far, and then Eternal kind of struggled against a couple of teams from there. Still getting a very respectable, still getting a very respectable result in the regular season. It was either second place or third place. Which one exactly, I do not quite recall, but still incredibly strong. And finally, can I just make a note? Eternal have finally learned their lesson, and they have banned the Dredge because when you're against Bubbo, why are you not banning the Dredge? That's like literally his killer. But they finally learned their lesson, so we're not going to be seeing any Dredge today. Got a couple of other spicy options for you instead.
Yeah, I think Eternal would definitely have seen the banned Dredge from a good mile away, as their old friend Bobo is going to be the Dredge player for Ariandel. Now, Eternal second in the standings right now, with Ariandel third, both with 6 wins, 3 losses, no ties. But the big difference between Eternal and Ariandel is the set win percentage, where Eternal close edging to 69% of a set win percentage, as opposed to Ariandel's 54.
That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice.
So very, very respectable. Eternal with a little bit of an edge, I would say, going into this. But the most important part about this is that Ariandel were the coin toss winners, so they picked Doctor for the first matchup, and everyone knows and loves Mr. Herman Carter on the Wretched Shop. I feel like it's a very traditional, you're averaging around 6 stages, 2 kills. If played averagely, can get lower if the Survivor teams play well, but can all come crumbling down if things go wrong in the early game. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Doctor, we kind of know. You kind of got it right bang on the money, right? The average hook stage is just on the end of 6.75, so more close to 7, but yeah, about 7 stages. It's going to be a matter of micro, to be honest. The Doctor isn't really the most macro set. Doctor, you can run Doctor for quite a long time as well, which is always going to be a little bit of a problem. In terms of who actually gets the edge here, I'm not entirely sure who would get the edge in that Doctor set. Of course, it was picked by Ariandel, so you'd have to maybe consider that they're the ones who have the advantage there, but I believe it would be Zaka playing for the Eternal side anyway, and Zaka, I think again, like I always mention, this is definitely in contention for one of the best killer players in the world, right? Easy S tier on any tier list in terms of the best. There's a debate to be had, but Zaka's certainly in the conversation, right? We have Singularity in the next set as well. Now, the last one we were talking about micro, Singularity is very macro heavy, right? Not only are you trying to communicate the gens you're working on, the tiles you're running the killer to, etc., what you had for breakfast that morning and all that, but then you also have to talk about the EMPs and exactly which ones you are printing, if someone is going to come in to help with EMPs. We can see those... Oftentimes we can see those sets drag on a little bit. They are quite a bit slower, simply because it is so... the common counterplay is that when one survivor is being targeted and constantly biopoded up, then there's going to be other survivors rotating in and out with EMPs to help them out and force the killer to put another biopod on them, right? So essentially, for the killer, it's a case of, are you able to just land enough shots, land enough cheeky little camera placements, and enough biopods so that we are completely so that you can outdo the creation of those EMPs.
And I feel like the one of the most important things as well is obviously we all know the classic tried and true saying of the game really starts when the first survivor gets eliminated. And out of all the killers, I think Singularity is one that stands up above the rest with the potential of being able to lock down a 3-gen or at least a zoned area of the map in order to hold it for later on in the game. So I'm really looking forward to see what we have on both sides. But I definitely feel like Eternal will be having a bit of an edge here, as obviously they were the ones to pick it. But speaking of picks, Ariandel's second pick is going to be the Cenobite, which is also going to be on the Dead Dog Saloon. You guys are going to notice a trend here as we talk about the killers and the maps. Sets 2 and 3 are both going to be on Dead Dog, and sets 4 and 5 are both going to be on Suffer Pit 1, which honestly I'm really excited for.
Yeah, Doctor Set is going to be on the Wretched Shop, so that one's a little bit out there. So we're going to be touring the entity's realm as we do, going to a couple of interesting little places there. Doctor and Wretched Shop is kind of interesting. It doesn't really seem like it's obviously not really a map that lends itself amazingly to Doctor's strengths. It's not the biggest map in the game, but it's relatively decent size. There's a lot of tiles to work with. You know, oftentimes for a lower tier killer, you'd think of, well, we just put him on the Dead Dog Saloon and call it a day, right? But instead, it's going to be the Wretched Shop instead. In terms of the averages that we were talking about, Singularity and Cenobite, just in terms of what results we might be expecting. Singularity, you only end up 4K'ing about 30% of the time in DBDL. So 4K is not particularly common, which, as you say, is quite odd because you have pretty good potential. Once you have your first survivor eliminated, every single killer is going to be very happy with that. Singularity maybe exceptionally so. Your ability to lock down 3 survivors and even hold a nasty 3-gen, you are one of the best in the game at doing it, right? And that's for Singularity. And then the other killer we were discussing in set 3, the Cenobite, that is something which is helped by both the fact that Cenobite players have just gotten better and better over time, plus some quite favorable balancing. Obviously, on the Dead Dog Saloon, we don't see killers like fail to find the box within the first 10 seconds of the match. It like they just do. It's as simple as that, right? They know where they spawn, they figure out where the survivors are, they run directly to the box, and bam, they can start a little bit of chain hunt, slow down, snowball situation, right? That you 4K about 55% on average. You look at about 10 hook stages per game on the luckiest side. So if you're able to get a 4K, then you're pretty happy, right? Right now, we are hearing a little bit. We are hearing, because obviously both these teams have a lot to be playing for, right? We are hearing that Eternal are locked in today, like focused up, ready to go. I mean, again, Ariandel have won the head-to-head on this before, but you can never really count out Eternal, can you? Simply because it's Eternal. That's the name recognition. They have some of the best, even if individual players are improving around them at an alarming rate, their team play is oftentimes second to none, right? Who's your... But as we get into our first matchup, I just have to ask, who's your prediction?
Normally this is my job to do when either Dyer or Q isn't here.
Oh, nice, doesn't it?
Well, before I do my prediction, I just want to quickly talk about the picks. Okay. I reckon... It really could just go either way here. I feel like both of these teams have the potential to stay in the winner's bracket and progress their way through to... I don't know if we call it the quarterfinals or the semifinals. I know it's a very different thing as an Australian, so I apologize. But the next round before the finals...
That's okay. Australia isn't real. We know this.
Okay. No, this is true, actually. I'm just a paid actor by the DBDLeague team. But prediction. I think it's going to be... This is going to go to 5 sets. I have no doubt about that in my mind. I think both of these teams are going to play their picks just absolutely to perfection. They have this all down to an absolute rhythm that just cannot be altered. So I feel like it's going to be a 2-3 win to Eternal with a potential tie on the Blight set.
Ooh, Okay, very decisive. I like it. And speaking of decisive action, we are in our game now. Bubbo did start out pretty hot right now. Is going to be finding out Zaka nice and early. Going to be continuing to shock. Small whiff does come through there, but we're going to see whether this has the potential for Zaka to make some distance. You can see how irritating it is from the Survivor side. With this add-on combination, with the range on the electric shock, plus the reduced detonation delay from that purple add-on, you can essentially just shock the Survivor into infinity, and they have to keep running loops, and you will eventually catch them. With the Doctor, it's very odd. The chases are slow, but they will inevitably end at some point, right? If you constantly go around, you constantly get shocked. There is going to be slightly more distance made every single time, and there's nothing you can really do about it, right? Zaka recognizes this, is going to be running down to the corner of the map, so Chase was taken in a pretty decent spot, and we can see just how much of a dent has been made into the generators in exchange for this first hook. You'd be happy with one here at the very least from the Eternal side, but two is possible.
Yeah, and Zaka taking this first chase all the way back over to the shack side obviously makes it seem that there's going to be a really good 3 split of survivors on the gens. We saw 2 from what I believe, but the third could also be looking for a potentially quick save, or at least a fast rotate away from the active gen that would have been closest to where this hook's going to be. So Zaka up on the hook for first hook. Info on Dan and Royalty over towards the left-hand side of the map, as that main building gen is just inches away from being completed. I feel like Bubba doesn't really have any interest in so much forcing the stages here, as we do try and go back and cut off a survivor. I'm also keeping the pressure off of the gens. In the meantime, this shock, it's gonna land, cancelling the hook, and Dan's gonna be forced back into the TLs and away from the unhook, completely denying. That was insane by Bubba.
Yeah, really good play there, and you can see it's just trying to get the timings absolutely perfect to keep denying the unhooks coming through. You can do that with the shock from a distance, and essentially it means that at the worst you just have to force an exchange, right? Dan cannot get his unhook safely. Nightlight does actually come and take a hit, however, and this is what we were talking about Eternal. Even when they're battling against the wall, they can do off small team play things like this, where they're actually able to get everyone out of that situation. No one's down yet. Of course, Zaka is likely to be taunted out here, but Bubbo losing another gen realizes that that's not too viable anymore. It's actually just going to have to swap back over, get the chase onto Dan instead. This would be nice for a hook stage, but you basically have no real chance of getting a survivor out of the game quickly anymore, so you're going to have to play for, you know, you're going to have to play for your stages instead.
Dan is playing this edge map filler so well, but the down is going to be inevitable. Obviously, you will eventually catch up. But the time waste from looping a pallet or a TL or something like that and just wasting as much time as possible by taking shock after shock after shock, it's an incredible time waste, and it adds up so much in the grand scheme of things. So resets are coming out. Pain res going through onto the most progressed gen, as well as we have our second fresh of the trial here.
And Zaka is going to be reset now. Sloppy Butcher is here from Bubbo, so that is going to force a reset a little bit more. It's interesting to see a lot of doctors actually opt to run Rapid Brutality in that slot instead. In this case, because you don't exactly need the Bloodlust, right? You're using your power constantly in the chase. The Bloodlust doesn't really help you, and you're just a standard M1 killer. It can be quite beneficial in the chase, but instead opting for slowdown instead, in the passive form of just more healing right now. Bubbo is going to be sticking on Dan right now, but again, this is Dan's first hook. He's going to have a lot more hang time, probably about 30 seconds left or so until stage 2, and then can just chill there for another while longer before the rest of the time need to consider the save. That's plenty of time to pop at least one generator, probably 2, but Bubbo does have a decent 3-gen in the corner of this map near Dan's hook as well. You have to be careful, though, to make sure that this generator over here is not getting complete under your nose, and that might be exactly what's happening.
Yeah, now we do have to be careful with this, though, because basically the way things are going right now, if the save does happen onto Dan and they have a really long chase, Dan takes the chase over towards left-hand side, which we see with Nightlight playing from behind, ready to take hit tanks and that sort of thing. But what I'm trying to get at here is that these two gens over towards the shack are going to be actively worked on right now by both Zaka and Roy, who are both going to be available for hit tanks as well. just before that last gen pops, even maybe leaving 199s to counter Noed as well, as the chase continues onto Dan. Nightlight rotated away, and the chase is being taken to this maze tile here.
Yeah, and that last perk spot is something really important to know. And yeah, any hopes you have of that 3-gen's gone now. And you aren't even able to fully commit to Dan to get that down. So, as Bobo, what is it that you're going for right now? Maybe you're trying to find a fresh survivor, maybe camp them all the way to death here. You are able to catch out Zaka on this generate here, but just hear the progress on that. Hear that one ticking along. You need to get someone fresh down. You need to get a pain resonance or something, but you need to do it yesterday right now. Because the moment that this chase is being dragged away from this shack side, the rest of the survivors will just scurry in like rats, complete that one through, and there it is. And the chase coming through onto Nightlight. Obviously, Nightlight will probably be going down here, but that will reveal the Noed. Nightlight was injured anyway, so Noed didn't get a particular amount of value. It's going to be cleansed up shortly, and if the survivors really want to, they can reset, and they have a decent chance at trying to get a save off.
I don't know if that was an intentional door open by Dan trying to go for the reset at the door. I would hope it. I hope it wasn't an accident that door would open there. Okay. Well, with this no internal spawners campaign, there is no chance that they're going to be able to save this. And in just a moment, Nightlight's going to comment to the team saying, "Guys, it's Jova. Just take the outs. We're not going to be able to save this." And I would agree with him. This is a scenario where you're not going to be able to get a save.
Yeah, we've seen this relatively often against Eternal specifically. They just get very unlucky Noed spawns when they're on the survivor side. Like this one, it just physically can't be cleansed, which means that the save can't come through. And with Dan leaving, Zaka and Rosie are also going to get out. So we do see 5 hook stages there coming out, which is... sorry, 6. I can't count. That's, as you said, that's about average, probably on the lower end of average, but average nonetheless for Bubbo. This is the playoffs, however, and so you have to kind of call into question, can we accept an average Doctor performance? I'm not entirely convinced. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Doctor is in the house, and it is going to be Zaka here today. We did just see on the killer side for Ariandel, they achieved 6 hook stages and 3 fresh hooks, which is about the lower end of average that we can expect right now. Zaka actually opting not to go for a big blast to lock up a lot of survivors. Instead is going to find one, get him down, get a little bit of revenge on Bubbo for being so obnoxious in the Doctor in the last match. Of course, today joined by the wonderful, the one, the only Spokermann, who is with me. Show him right now. First chase. How do we think this is going to be going?
Well, as we see, an alternate pick of perks here coming out from Zaka, the Rapid Brutality is going to be coming into play as opposed to Sloppy Butcher in the last game, or as Dyer would say, Sloppy Butcher. Bubbo's doing a really good job with this first chase, greedy out to make it to this filler pallet though. We'll be able to make it over here, but Zaka will have really good control of Bubbo here and goes for the alternate pathing, gets the down. As we have a look, we see half progress on Shack by Hardwell. Arima and Excise off in the distance as well, with a little bit of progress to show for themselves as well. A nice healthy 3 split. Apainres did go out and hit the most progressed gen, which is honestly kind of hard to tell, but I would have to guess Arima. And yeah, this is looking like a very on-pace kind of start for a Doctor game. It's very traditional, but Zaka is about to get a monster amount of info here.
Ooh. Yeah, you know, now you know that Arima is the one who rotated for that unhook, and we are actually just gonna be... Never mind, okay, Arima just hiding there effectively from the initial shock, but is gonna get tagged up. Rapid Brutality does come in, not gonna be taking full advantage of that. Is Zaka. It seems like you're just gonna want to get that injury and then head back over to the hook to either try to cancel the unhook, apply some extra pressure, or maybe even best case, just get Arima out. Get Bubbo out of the game. Is going to be Arima caught out here, injured a little bit. One generator has been completed for all of this. We're in a Zaka seems to be trying to do a lot of different things all at the same time. Was initially considering going back to the hook, but then fully committed through onto Arima before the unhook came through. And clearly it pays off dividends here. You're going to be getting that hook, you're going to be getting that down, and that's a pretty quick down, honestly. You don't often get downs this quick in the Doctor set, but the down to Arima there, very fast.
I really like what Zaka's doing here, because what he's doing is he's playing for his win con by getting as many fresh hooks as possible early on, while still not entirely going out of his way to, you know, losing the objective, losing some gens in the process. Zaka is hooked in basement right by where two very active generators were being worked, so Zaka's going to have really good control over this area, and the resources are really dwindling here as Hardwell goes for the pre-drop and makes it away. Spick and span, good as new.
Yeah, and Zaka's just going to be happy to keep Arima nice locked up in the basement right now. He's going to be looking around, see if there's anyone stealthed in here just a little bit. Who wants to come into Zaka's basement? Apparently nobody. I wonder how Zaka feels about that one. Well, we'll see, won't we? Because you're going to be sticking here for just a little while longer. Arima going to be going to that second stage in about 20 seconds and going to just continually shock. Is definitely happy to camp here until Arima hits the second stage. In the meantime, you can see Hardwell is trying to bully out that generator. It's really good that Zaka came at the exact moment, because now you get the best of both worlds. You're able to interrupt that gen from being completed, but will then also get Arima to the second stage, and you can also hopefully get a nice quick chase onto Hardwell as well. Utilize that rapid brutality, which has been seemingly quite effective in keeping these chases nice and short for our killer here today.
I really like that Zaka's not going for the shocks either and just getting as much distance onto Hardwell as possible before going for that pallet-denying shock and getting the down as the third gen is getting completed. Arima's going to be able to get reset in time, as obviously there's no sloppy butcher here in play. It's the rapid brutality set, and yeah, they're going to opt to go for the basement heal as opposed to rotating away. The reset is the priority as Hardwell is getting hooked on the complete other side of the map. So really, really well played here by Ariandel. But this is where things get extra dicey, as we're already at our 4 hook stages out of 6 to at least meet Tycon, but 3 fresh acquired as of right now.
Yeah, you have your fresh hook, so that's your tie condition, right? So in a perfect world, honestly, you would find Excise and Cam to death, right? Excise would be another fresh hook, but it would also be 3 stages as well. That would take you over to your 7 stages that you need for the win right now. However, you've found Arima who is on death hook right now, and that's a nice first hit that's going to be coming through as well. Imagine if you can get Arima out of the game before every generator is completed, and then you also have the no-ed 2 on top of that to then guarantee yourself essentially another couple of hook stages as well. Yeah, this is bad right now for the Survivor side. Eternal definitely seem large and in charge right now. They are coming out to play here. Arima is going to be
res as well.
Hook. The pain res 2, yeah, because the first hook wasn't actually in the basement. Arima actually, okay, so that's going to be a couple of percent which are not going to be acquired, but you don't really mind if you're Zaka, right? You're still feeling pretty good about this.
Yeah, getting that first elimination. I don't think the gens are really split in a favorable position for Zaka. Excise makes the pallet and gets the stun. Hardwell missing his skill check. This opposite ends of the spectrum right now with the and the fake at the window as well. Excise is going crazy right now. Going over towards the shack. The shock's going to come through, deny the window. But this is the chase that really means the most right now. The final gen needs to be worked on in the distance. And the head-on from Hardwell to prolong this game-changing chase. Only being at 5 stages right now, even though it's a 3v1. If somehow Ariandel were to be able to get the 3 out here, that would be an Ariandel set 1 win.
Yeah, it absolutely would right now, but Excise is being slowly zoned further and further into the corner of the map, is going to be shocked up right here. It doesn't really matter right now for Zaka, though we do actually see Hardwell coming in to tank a hit right now, and Bobo is likely just going to be 99 the last gen, just to make sure that the hit came through before Noah did. And this is... Now you're going over to a box as well. You have some more resources to work with. If you have some more resources to work with on the Survivor side right now, you actually dodge that shot, you're able to make it over to another tile as well. Last generator is going to be popping here, but unfortunately, again, against the Doctor, it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when. That's the hit that's going to be coming through. Last gen is done, so now the Noed not going to be effective onto Excise. How do they get Excise out here? I just don't think they can.
No, I don't think so either. And Hardwell tried to come in to take the down as well, but it's just an unwinnable scenario at this point. Zaka has done his job, and he's done it beautifully as we get the 2 slugs here onto Hardwell and Excise, as Bubba is going to be left in the distance to probably just open the door and escape.
Yeah.
Oh no. He's not even going to have time.
No, it's actually just going to be pressured out actively. The Noed's not going to be able to be cleansed right now, and it was a very risky endgame play the Survivors are going for. They had to, right? They had no other choice in the matter, but this is going to result in the 4K, right? I just don't see how you can slice it any other way. This is an inevitable 4K that's going to be coming through. You have your Doctor so fast. You're playing around this tile pretty well, actually. You also get a Vault as well. You can path yourself back round either to the window or back to the pallet as well. You are getting shocked up again, and eventually something's got to give, and that's going to be Bubba Eternal taking this first set. I have literally no idea how Ariandel made that look winnable. That is just a testament to the strength of their Survivor gameplay, but unfortunately, that's a timeline that we don't live in right now. The timeline we're living in right now is Eternal taking up our first set here on the Doctor, and do recall that that was actually a pick from Ariandel, right?
That's exactly right. So it's going to be a lot of nerves, even though this is the first set of a best of 5. This will take like a big hit on the morale, as losing your pick of killer to then have to go into the other team's pick of killer, which is Singularity nonetheless. I really hope Ariandel has been dusting up on those Singularity scrims, because it's going to mean a lot here. They need to get that set point back over to make it a 1-all if they want to be able to make it for the long haul. This very juicy best of 5, might I say, as we finally get all our survivors up on the hook. And yeah, I gotta say, Ariandel did such an amazing job in this game that actually gave a lot of people hope. I feel like in the chat, a lot of Ariandel believers had a feeling that something might have gone their way there, but unfortunately that's not the case with Eternal. You weren't joking about them being locked in, and they are just absolutely demonstrating it here tonight. Well, I say tonight, but it's 5 in the morning for me, so it's this morning.
Here's the thing. I like the idea, obviously, because Eternal have been so historically strong. I have this bit where sometimes the Eternal team will wake up and just decide to not lose, right? And it seems like that's what they've done on the Doctor set, at the very least. They just have to stay in that for at least 2 more sets, and they will get themselves through the winner's bracket and knock down Ariandel. It would also be a nice little bit of revenge for him, right? Ariandel, the first team in the regular season to deliver a loss to Eternal. Eternal want to deliver the message, hey, we are not the same team anymore, right? We are going to be sending it over to a quick break, and once we are back, we are going to be coming with you with the Singularity set. It will be Eternal killing first there, so don't go anywhere. We're going to be back as soon as we can.
Sup, legends, and welcome back this time to the second set of our second best of 5 with Eternal v Ariandel. We're going to be seeing Eternal on the Singularity. Nightlight is setting up a cheeky biopod up at the top of the shack. I feel like there's such a nice spot because you get so much more vision than what you normally would, as opposed to being on the edge walls of the shack. And thankfully, I am joined by Edgar, who suffered a quick little internet crash, but is back. Edgar, how's it feel?
Happens to the best of us. The worms, they invaded my internet. Happens to us all, right? So, Nightlight is cooking here with this build, which is something which we haven't seen on Singularity for a hot minute. Call of Brian Overcharge, no. I promise you guys, this isn't, 2021, 2022. This isn't release Omrio. This isn't the Gen Kick meta. I promise you. But, yeah, no, okay. So we're going to be seeing the full Gen Kick perk. So, Call of Brian Overcharge, they got nerfed in terms of their regression. Overcharge can still have that skill check, which could potentially catch people off guard the first time, but that'll be quickly cooled out, won't be an issue anymore. Call of Brine is far more valuable as an information perk than it is a pure regression perk, right? But I suppose that if you stack that on top of Pop Goes the Weasel, that works for you as well. But the issue is that you need a hit to come through, right?
Wow.
That's a good teleport, but no hit is going to come out of it. It seems like all the survivors right now, I was going to say we're focusing on putting their EMPs, but that is actually going to be one flying right there. And we tried to get a teleport. Are we able to make it a last distance? So finally, closing the distance just a little bit. First hit does come through. Exile now going to be broken up as well. But likely not going to matter because Nightlight is just going to commit to this chase. Friend don't come in. Arima with the EMP clutching up. Tags up the injury as well. Now you have your priorities set with your Nightlight. You're actually going to be changing those priorities very quickly as well. You tried to get through onto Arima, but unfortunately, that biopod didn't land where you wanted it. And now you're back to square one right now.
Yeah, not being able to get the teleport on Arima really is unfortunate. Not being able to get that first down at this point of the game where there's already 2 gens done, and at the active 3-gen being broken as well, because this is what Nightlight is playing for here. There is a 3-gen setup around the shack and the gallows, or the gallows area, sorry, as we saw with the setup in the early game. But yeah, I feel like Nightlight is really going to have to be strict with priorities here if we're going to be getting this chase onto Arima at main, or if too much time has passed back to the 3-gen over by that corner, because if that 3-gen goes, it's problems. The reset is coming through, but Exile is taking the tag here, and I believe there's an add-on coming into play. Faulted those brokens. We get the biopod tag onto iPick as well, working the active 3-gen, as Nightlight is literally doing 2 things at once by chasing here near the main building and pressuring iPick off of the gen.
Arima did use life there to get the hell out of dodge, create a little bit of distance, and Nightlight, well, actually not going to be committing. So Nightlight seems to be recognizing here, not actually committing for hard chases, is really locking down this 3-gen, right? And that's going to slowly force those, that's slowly going to force a rotation of EMPs to come through as well. Eventually does get the teleport onto iPick, especially because of this, because this green add-on to reduce the broken. It seems like Nightlight is very much going for the hit and run playstyle, right? Tag people up, hit them, and eventually just overwhelm them with pressure, right? You aren't instantly trying to get anyone out of the game initially, so maybe you're okay with letting a few gens fly, but, and that, again, it's another reset that comes through literally in the nick of time right there, and Excise as well is here to tank that body block. I wonder if these brokens are really helping, you know? I don't know how long they last. I'm gonna assume 60 seconds, but if you aren't committing to that chase, then 6 seconds is plenty of time for those survivors to just get back together into a corner and just have a little healing party.
I do believe it's something more around the likes of maybe 30 seconds or so. I think.
Well, then even worse, right?
But you know, it's still providing an insane amount of pressure. Sorry, but I think I saw a vigil on one of those survivors as well, which, fun fact, does actually make that broken run out quicker, as well as the Sloppy Butcher effect. So nice to see that coming into play. I hope I'm not about to get yelled at for being wrong, but Nightlight is obviously going to be playing for this setup once again and holding it down. Yet to pop that gen that iPick was working on earlier. I'm sorry, the survivors are yet to pop it, even with a decent amount of pressure onto it, as the chase goes onto Hardwell over by the tiles, going into and at the water tower as we lose the water tower pallet so quickly. No teleport coming through, but I believe there's a spectator bug. We're not actually in overclock right now. We just got the R2B on and heading over towards main to get a biopod tag onto iPick and another EMP coming out in just a second, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, this has been slow to accrue. There's also another small issue with the Call of Brine overcharge, right? Of course, it's something that incentivizes kicking gens, but remember, this isn't the same game that we played just a few years ago. There is the limit on regression now, right? So you can't just constantly, even if you have a really tight-knit 3-gen, you can't just rely on constantly spam kicking the same 3 gens, right? That'll eventually stop working, and then you're gonna have to adapt yourself a little bit. We do see iPick running through there with the EMP, so that biopod is going to be all but cosmetic, and you can definitely see the gens that the survivors want to be working on, right? They are very firmly locked up in the corner of that map. If they're able to break this one, then that would be wonderful for them. But Excise is going to be at this pallet, does end up going into it, and we finally have our first down did take quite a while right now, but we can see the gens. Well, no, we can't see the gens apparently because they're going to be popping right in front of our eyes. That one not in the 3-gen split, so Nightlight is still going to be content to keep that lockdown.
Ooh, not quite being able to get the teleport. Oh, wow, and the extra duration of coming out of cams means that Arima's going to be able to get the unhook for free. I don't know if Nightlight was expecting that pull to be so quick, but EMP is coming out at the setup at the gallows as well. But with how many cameras Nightlight has set up, he just still has eyes on the gen. A big triangular split. It's like ender pearls in Minecraft with the different directions, the triangulation. It's honestly it's beautiful to see, and it's really going to make it tough for this 3-gen to get broken. Ooh.
I mean, yeah, these guys have... Oh, that was a funny little visual there. Goofy game. But yeah, no, you can definitely tell that these guys have played so much Singularity that they kind of know to spread out their biopods, right? If you have gens that you really want to focus on, put them far apart, put those pods far apart from each other, so that they don't all get EMP'd in one shot, right? So that's going to be working out briefly there. Right, like still going to be looking around. Again, really just slowing this game down to a crawl right now. But iPic does have an EMP, and is going to be using that to get rid of both the Slipstream for themselves and Arima too. Hardwell is the injured survivor right now. We want to see whether a reset can really come through there. It seems like Nightlight is just sort of the all-seeing eye. Omniscient, I believe, is the correct word for that one, if we want to get very technical here. We finally are going to find iPic, but this is your one survivor who is not tagged up. That's a well-placed biopod, though, and if you're a little bit lucky here, you're not a little bit lucky, so forget everything I was just about to say.
And like the railings have been proven to be like a really good line of sight blocker for the cameras. Nightlight's been kind of struggling to get slipstream tags and teleports even onto survivors that are behind that railing, as Arima's going to be taking the chase once again at the main building. Nightlight once again being omniscient around the map and making sure that setup doesn't get broken.
Omniscient, yeah, close enough. What works for us, right? We are finally going to be getting some kicks coming through on the top of these generators, and yeah, it's still a matter of breaking. It's still a matter of breaking this 3-gen, right? We know the one generator that sides really want to complete over on that side, and they also have main building, which is reasonably safe to work on, not necessarily against a Singularity, but if you are able to get up there with the EMP and force them to make that big rotate round, then you do know that you're fine there. You are going to be catching iPic here, and you catch them in this open section as well, so you are going to get an injure that comes through, not in overclock mode, so that's not going to apply a broken. And Nightlight, once again, just going to be returning right back to the generators. We finally have information coming through from Call of Brian. The good skill check has been hit. And that's just going to be another tag up onto Arima as well. Nightlight right now is playing, I don't know, 1984 simulator or something in that regard. Something, we live in a society, something, cameras, surveillance, whatever.
A very dystopian world of omniscience and cameras all around the map. But we hear, I believe, iPic up around the area here as we land the teleport, getting that tag onto Excise. So it's like a budget force penance coming into play with this add-on, which is really funny to see.
Oh my goodness. Everyone is going to be slipstream now, so survivors are going to be forced to once again go back to the drawing board here briefly. You can see Hardwell is pressuring out a different generator, right? So now, as Nightlight, initially you were only really locking that one generator down with your slipstream. Now you have several more to think about. You are actually going to find the corner that Hardwell is in right now, almost baiting that vault. Is actually going to come through from the correct side here, and I do believe that we still have a pallet here to work with, or not if I recall. No pallet here. Okay, I'm going crazy. I have dementia. But Hardwell does get injured up, runs through into the houses section of the map, and is just going to be leaving right now. We can see Proton through on this generator, about 40% or so from the side of the survivors right now. And Nightlight now has the exact 3-gen locked down. We have our topside generator completed in the main building. So now it's just about locking down the 3-gen. Nightlight has no reason to not continue playing Five Nights at Freddy's with the use of these security cameras right now, right?
Call him Mike Schmidt because he is going to be staying here till 6 a.m. as we hold this 3
So
gen.
that's right. So are they. So are we. I mean, you are staying till 6 a.m. Australian time in that.
No, it actually is 5:23 in the morning, so...
So you will be here till 6 a.m. That's amazing. That's so fun.
Right, we have to be very methodical with how we play this 3-gen setup because obviously Nightlight has been very disciplined when it comes to when he actually kicks the gen and goes for the Call O'Brien overcharge regression, knowing the limit of how many times he can actually kick a gen before hitting the regression limit. So why we haven't been seeing Nightlight just willy-nilly kicking all the gens, just keeping an eye on the regression and letting it build up over time as that overcharge Call O'Brien does its job.
I mean, it seems like the play for the Spurs right now is just to gather even more EMPs, and that's going to be slowed up even more because Nightlight is going to get more slipstreams off. It's a Sisyphean effort, you know. You roll the boulder up the hill, you get your EMP, you destroy your slipstream, you get rid of a biopod, and then at the exact same time, you just get tagged up again from across the map, and you have to spend another minute or so just printing one off. Doing that little funny little animation. Again, the hit comes onto iPick, and we go right back over to the biopods as well. Nightlight is going to be looking around. Excise tagged up, and he's going to get the teleport through here. Would be interesting to see if an Injure can come through. You don't have the pallet here to work with, but you still have this one here. Not great, however, and everyone is kind of privy to the fact that you can actually get hit over that tile now. Something that people didn't know a couple of years ago, but people learn, right? So you're not going to be able to play that one particularly safely. Again, it's just going to be slow down. Even the reset's going to be slow as well, with Sloppy Butcher as well. And you can see right now, the Spiders are trying to dodge the slipstream as much as possible. They do still have a lot of resources over on this side of the map. That is probably your one saving grace right now for the Survivor side. If for whatever reason the chase is unfortunately forced here, which it is going to be right now, you still have essentially all of your resources left, right? Arima, however, doesn't want the chase to be here, is going to run to the other side of the map right now, and Nightlight is now, stop playing Five Nights at Freddy, is playing Portal 2 instead.
Yeah, I'm loving the video game references here, but it's no joke for Arima here, who takes a Medal of Man hit over at the pallet there, the filler pallet at main. It's so nice seeing Medal of Man coming into play just from all the protection hits that have come out. Really nice EMP timings from iPick as well. Is getting harassed on this generator, poor thing. And
He thought he EMP'd it, but it didn't quite have the range. And because he's going to have to go grab another EMP.
Yeah, and we do have the spectator bug on Nightlight at the moment, so just for the sake of the viewer experience, we are going to be spectating the survivors from here on out and seeing what they get up to as iPick has taken his tag and rotated away. The reset's coming out, and Excise is playing in the heart of the generators, just waiting for the call to get on the gens, because you have to stealth from all of the cameras as well, because if Nightlight even gets a hint that there's someone inside the pre-gen, it's big problems.
Yeah, Arima is going to be lifing around the corner, and that may have seemed like a bit of a sandbag, but again, Nightlight doesn't care about this chase in the slightest. I feel like right now Nightlight's in like the situation where it's like, if this chase is going to take more than 10 seconds, I don't want it, right? And every single pallet broken over on this side of the map, every hit, every reset forced, every new EMP that every new slipstream that you end up tying onto survivors is just going to be worth incrementally more and more, right? Excise is the one who is going to get caught out here, but you still have a pretty healthy main building to work with as well. None of the walls have been broken, and you're actually so confident that the killer isn't going to follow you that you just start printing an EMP mid-chase.
And also it helps having Hardwell nearby to take a hit if needed and get the reset off as well. This is a really, really tough position. There's so much at stake with everything that's going on here. Resets are happening. Stealthing in the basement is happening
now
as well. Oh my goodness.
Oh, goodness gracious. This is what, remember guys, this is what the Skull Merchant died for. Anyway, we are going to be seeing Arima does have this EMP. It is tagged up nice and early though, but does have a life as well to create a little bit of distance. We're going to see whether there's something that Nightlight wants to commit to. At the very least, might want to tag up Arima with maybe a biopod. is definitely going for it, but Rima breaking line of sight at the perfect time there. And instead, it's going to be, once again, the survivors grouping up in the saloon, having a couple of bevs, thinking about, okay, what can we get done against this overwhelming, terrifying presence that is Nightlight Singularity, because right now it is applying a lot of pressure.
Yeah, honestly, you had me at drinks at the bar, I'm not gonna lie. 5:30 in the morning is the perfect time for a beer, I would say, but yeah, Arima still in the main building.
It's always a good time for a bit. It's always a good time for a beer.
Always.
This is something the American mind simply can't comprehend, right?
Just grab a Bud Light. I'm sure there's some kind of sports game happening right now, but no, this is the DBDLeague playoffs. This is what we're here for.
This is real sports. This is real sports right now. You know, all that. You know, the Euros on TV. You know, that quote unquote football or soccer that some might call it, and that is not where the real athletes are. These are the real athletes right now. I don't think they've made a dent in these generators for the past 5 to 10 minutes. Hardwell has I feel like every single survivor has now grabbed an EMP, and they're just waiting to like Autobots roll out, you know, which seems to be the case. But no, and now Rima's in court again, so that's going to be another EMP that is going to be used to get rid of that. It's going to be another EMP used to get rid of that. I don't know how long iPick has been sat in this corner. I genuinely think he's been there for like 3 minutes now. Spoker, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm losing my mind, brother.
Well, the awkward thing about this all, right, is that I think what the survivors are going for here is they want to have everyone with an EMP in hand, and all the boxes have passively regen to the point where you just need to do the last little bit to get another EMP. Because if you're already holding an EMP, I don't know if you can actually continue to work the box, or if it just swaps the current EMP that you have. So they just want to have all those EMPs available so that when they do make a play to at least attack the 3-gen, it's like it's so much more tougher because of the gens, one being on gallows and one being on one of the houses.
They're rolling out. They're doing it. They're rolling out. All right, the whole gang. They're going in full force now. They're actually not going to be able to use the EMP yet. Rima has already been caught up here. EMP is going to be used to save Arima's life for just a little bit longer. And then, as you said before, survivors actually, because the boxes are printed now, they are also going to have access to a new set of EMPs, right? These are going to be used to try and negate the power for as long as possible. If you're Nightlight, again, you could be more than happy to just keep cycling these through, right? Especially because before we were talking about how many resources the survivors had on this side of the map, those no longer exist, right? That is a rock, not a resource, unfortunately. Going to be headbutting that one. Little bit of pressure did come out onto that generator up the stairs. Survivors are going to go back into EMP mode for just a minute. Hardwell is actually going to be being chased for the time being, hit as well. So he does accept that injury, and it does seem like Nightlight is actually going to be committing to this one. Chase in the main building. We'll see how well this goes. That's a fast fault point coming through on account of the overclock, and Hardwell is going to be going down here. So finally, we do have a down coming through. An extra stage for Nightlight is going to be acquired here. Rest of Survivors going to take the opportunity to reset. Probably grab a couple more EMPs like their candy right now. I pick with Deja Vu to be the one of these generators. It's a small thing, but that's just the case of min-maxing, you know? If you are going to assign a Survivor to work on this generator, then might as well give it to the person who can do them just a little bit faster. But Excise is actually going to go down as well. Hardwell's still on the hook. This is where the game can absolutely explode right now for Nightlight, especially because iPick has been tagged up with a slipstream as well.
Yeah, but already EMP in hand, ready to disable the camera and the fire pod on the back. We saw that was Rima trying to go in for a flashlight save or the firecrackers on iPick actually. Some kind of save was in the making there, but didn't quite come through as iPick is getting slipstream once again, and Arima is going in for the unhook onto Hardwell just before second.
And iPick's actually been injured, so iPick has been bullied off the topside generator right now. But because that's so progressed, I feel like we are just going to be seeing Nightlight return to that one. kicking it. Because you got the hook, you are going to have Pop Goes the Weasel, so you use that, and then you're also able to apply a couple other regression perks as well. Nightlight, however, is actually going to be going for the chase instead, and Excise, remember, is on the final stage here, so it's not even the worst idea to see whether you can, you know, whether you can force Excise's death here. We've seen how brutal this is to overcome in a 4v1, in a 3v1. It could be almost untenable.
Yeah, I think if the first elimination were to happen here onto Excise, the hesitation from Arima, I think it forces it into a trade. There could have been a possibility where Excise takes a tag at least, but no. We're going to be waiting a little bit longer, I think, because of the hook still being close to the hook, even though the unhook happened. That penalty still applied, as Arima is going to be getting hooked into the basement, which is obviously right next to the heart of the setup of all that gens, and this is just getting from bad to worse for Ariandel right now. It seemed like that there was at least some sort of chance with IPIC deja vuing the gen up on the house here, as we see again, but it's going to be tough as Nightlight just has too much pressure.
There are 3 biopods just on that one generator. There are 2. There's one on top of the shack, there's one on the fence, and then there's one on the wall overlooking as well. Not even the resources of the United States of America could prevent Nightlight from getting all of these cameras up on display right now. You could have the world's best tech team in the world. You could give billions of dollars in hacking resources and EMP technology, and they would still not be able to get rid of all of these resources. Excise is going to be injured up now, and this could be really rough if Excise goes down, because remember, that is the one on Death Hook right now. However, like quite literally does not care about that. Is instead going to be going right back over to the generators, knows where it's at right now. Hardwell is going to be running into a corner of the map where there are a couple of resources to work with, but that's not a great pallet, and dropping that also reduces the amount of distance you get off of it. Again, very non-committal right now. It's going to be another reset, another EMP grab, another few minutes.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that we can't really get to see this from Nightlight's perspective, obviously, because of the spectator bug, but it just really helps with the thought process when it comes to positioning and what chases we're taking, what chases we're dropping, and, you know, where positioning is the biggest takeaway from all of this, and being able to see the way the survivors are positioning when it comes to their resets, grabbing the EMPs and all that kind of stuff has been really, really nice to see, I might add. IPIC getting chased at the moment, though, takes the broken tag from the overclock mode, and I assume manages to W key away enough to be able to make it outside of that gen setup. More EMPs are going to be getting printed. Hardwell up in main. Arima down towards the shops. And I believe... Oh, Arima's going to be getting substream tagged as well.
Yeah, also going to be chased up a little bit here as well. We can see whether the injure does come through. Yes, it will. So Arima is going to get injured up in the chase right now. But he's just going to charge the EMP. It's important that the survivors do try and be a little bit efficient. Obviously, yes, they have a theoretically infinite number of EMPs, but if they want any chance of properly breaking the 3-gen, then they're going to need to make sure that they have as many that they can have at once, right? And it seems like Nightlight is actually going to find both injured survivors in this corner right now. They're going to have to try and split up here. And it seems like IPIC is the target that Nightlight wants here. We finally have some more progress on that generator over there, however. Does reach 50% right now. Survivors actually quite confident that Chase isn't continuing. And yeah, that is because we know that Nightlight is now on these cameras to lock down Hardwell as well, who is going to be continually breaking line of sight here, making life a little difficult for Nightlight as well. So at least we have a little bit of gen pressure coming through. 50% on that generator over there. Excise able to actually dunk that pallet there. Is able to make some distance. I think they actually position Excise up there because of the bounce landing, right? So was able to make a hasty getaway as well. Teleport is going to be coming through, and yeah, through overclock mode, that's a problem. Now Excise is dead, and this game hasn't been slowed down to a crawl. It has been slowed down to... What's slower than a crawl? Nothing? No movement?
maybe a limp crawl perhaps, but the pickup is happening onto Excise though, I believe. But Hardwell is taking the chase right to the pickup so that we have a healthy survivor to take a hit, and there it is from Arima.
Teamwork. Even when the game gets long and the players get, you know, mentally exhausted and tired out, they are still in this, right? They are still going to keep with it. Another EMP coming through onto iPick as well. And Survivors are probably going to try and retreat over to their corner of the map, but the pressure that's being exerted here from Nightlight just through these windows right now is going to be a lot to deal with, right? And now we see that Nightlight's going to take the opportunity to go and apply some more slowdown to these generators over in the corner. And Excise, Arima, Hardwell, they're all going to heal up as well. iPick, however, is doing a pretty good job at stealthing towards this generator, right? But has to be careful to not get tagged up early by any of these biopods.
Wow. The game says there from Nightlight, even though it's so easy to just hold a 3-gen. Nightlight knowing that iPick was going to be there for the rotation with EMP in hand, ready to just start working the gens as the reset happens cross map. Like, this is stuff that you can't just learn from, you know, like, this is stuff you only learn from playing comp and doing scrims and stuff.
Probably scrimming this exact scenario like hundreds of times, right? And dealing with the, again, mental exhaustion, because eventually some players will get to a point where some players might just get to a point where they just feel exhausted and just full send it, right? You know, Nightlight starts committing to chases after 20 minutes or so. The survivors will just start, you know, 3-manning generators and tanking hits in hope they can just bully something out. Instead, everyone is remaining focused. Again, these are the highest stakes. We are playing for a pretty surmountable prize pool. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe first place in this tournament gets $3,000 between them, which is a pretty sizable amount, right? Like, we're not talking chump change anymore. This is a big deal, big tournament with high stakes on the line. So these players are going to be really locking in as much as they can. And that will manifest in some slow gameplay. But again, the players are playing to win right now. So can you really blame them?
Oh, not at all. But the real trick here is, unfortunately, Arima wasn't quite able to, but just getting enough progression on the gens to at least stop the regression and allow for another kick to happen at some point. That's the only way that the game is going to progress here for the Survivor side. Now, $3,000, when you really think about it, that is so many $10 Amazon gift cards.
Dude, think of the number of, like, Tesco meal deals you could get. That's at least 4.
At least 4. Yeah, inflation and all that, you know.
I wasn't going to do the maths real quick, but it's at least 4 Tesco meal deals, right? So that's going to be great. Again, something the American mind simply cannot comprehend, the Tesco meal deal. We are going to see iPick running off that gen. Did end up getting some decent progression onto it. About 50% or so. Yeah, so we are doing just fine for the time being. Survivors are going to continue to reset just a little bit. Excise is also tagged up again. And again, Excise is the golden goose right now. Excise is the one who cannot be caught out and recognizes this in the corner. Nightlight is going to briefly consider, is probably going to be happy to get a quick hit on Excise because there are basically no resource to work with. Then think, okay, if I can get maybe a super quick tag here with my biopod, I can commit to this. Unfortunately, you cannot. This entire area has been the equivalent of carpet bombing, but for EMPs in the corner, right? So instead, it's going to be another reset coming through. Generators continue to regress. Maybe at some point, if I pick... I was going to say, maybe if the survivors could continue to overcome these regression events and stop the regression coming through, there's a small chance that we hit our regression limit. But again, Nightlight has been very conservative with the Gen King. I believe, even with the amount of regression that's come onto that top gen, has only kicked it about maybe 3 or 4 times, right?
Oh, and does make the vault. iPick really well played at the main building, but with the other cameras still set up at main, should be able to make it to another resource, and the overclock is just enough, but not enough to get the down onto iPick. And we are once again at Nightlight's perspective here, which we're going to be very adamant that we're going to be staying on this POV, as the producer has just let us know. So we're going to be seeing Nightlight barely getting the tag onto Arima in the shack, and things are kind of speeding up here for Nightlight. We've got a couple tags on the board. We still have some slipstreams out. The EMP pressure isn't as high as what it was earlier on in the game, so Nightlight is in a decent snowball situation right now. If we can catch out that reset, but the invisible wall above the shack is not allowing us, and Nightlight trying to use the corners of the camera, not quite being able to get that teleport as well. We saw it earlier on one of the cactuses as well in the 3-gen. You can angle your camera in a certain direction to be able to teleport. Similar to Dredge in Nightfall, if you move your camera towards the corners, you can still see the glowing outlines of survivors and stuff. It's a very niche tech that doesn't get seen very often, and this game has been a perfect showcase of it.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about kind of experience on Singularity. People, I will say it's not, even despite the fact that it technically does have a crosshair, does have aiming, I would not call this a particularly mechanically demanding killer, right? It functions effectively. It's not like the shots are the hardest thing in the world to hit, right? Maybe, I mean, Nightlight was a former, I believe, Apex champion or something's akin to that. You can check his Twitch bio for, like, exact details on that. So I don't feel like the FPS background has a big advantage in making you, you know, a top-tier Singularity player, but it is a very strategical killer, right? You know, playing chess or checkers or 4D chess or with our heartstrings or whatever you want to call it right now, that is kind of how you have to play this one. And again, just cycling through, having your APM be really high is really important on this killer, right? And that's that reason there. You're able to continue to get the slipstreams. Now Arima has literally nothing to work with, so we are going to be getting it down as well. We're going to be seeing, does Nightlight work? I was about to ask if Nightlight wants to pick this up and get the hook, and I'm like, what a silly question. He's going to check on the gens first, but knows that the Spider's going to be pulling out those generators, so now you get a little bit more incremental pressure right here. Remember that, again, 4Ks on the Singularity are quite rare. Only about 30% of the time are you going to be executing them, right? Wow. So even though you're playing slow right now, if you can get a 4K, you are in such a strong position to win out this game.
And just like that, those railings have been providing a bit of trouble for Nightlight, but does manage to get a slipstream tag through the railing there. It's a very, very precise camera placement from what we've seen throughout this game, and it's nice seeing it come to fruition. A lot of these cameras around the 3-gen need to be reset, but we do still manage to get the teleport onto iPick from the camera and water tower, so we should be able to get away with a tag here. And I think with the way things are now, we have 2 hooks onto Excise, a hook onto iPick, and 2 on Arima, if I'm not mistaken.
And a partridge in a pear tree as well. So
yeah,
it's going... Nightlight is in a good position right now, and despite the fact that obviously this game has slowed down, actually someone in our chat space is saying, and making a very good point, that Nightlight's actual mechanics have been pretty good here. Like, this is good gameplay for all intents and purposes, right? Nightlight's camera swapping is really on point. It's catching up to exactly where they need to be. The game sense, as we were identifying earlier, is in the right spot at the right time. I feel like that biopod needs to go. I'm just gonna... There's no two ways to slice it. That biopod on the latter wall, the one which Nightlight is about to switch to, and yeah, finally recognized it has to go. And we are going to be seeing Sliver go over to the other side of the generator to try and lock that one down. Get onto the high ground as well. We're putting a little more pressure in the gen. The drop down of Arima isn't able to get that bolt off quite in time. Hardrock is tagged up with a slipstream, and it is just a little bit of roulette, you know, of exactly which camera is Nightlight going to be using. And you need to, if you're on the correct side of the generator, you don't have to worry about that. Another kick coming through, and we can see those regression events coming in. I reckon there's been, I'm going to estimate about 6, maybe 7 onto that generator. So that one is going to eventually stop progressing, right? In the meantime, the other gen is going to be pressured out here, and Survivors is going to take time to reset.
Yeah, I think I haven't been keeping track of all the kicks, but I think 6 on that gen that we're looking at now, and 5 on the one up at the up on the building, just jumping off of the graphic. I really dislike how uninformative the graphic really is for how long you have left until the gen kick limit. But at the same time, if you're playing to hit the gen kick limit, I think you will know.
I swear it starts at 4, right? Like at 4 kicks.
That's
And that's
halfway
like,
mark.
yeah, that's like just halfway. It's really strange. And again, if you don't know about it, like let's say you're someone new to the game, it doesn't actually really tell you anything. It doesn't like get more intense. It doesn't outline that you can only kick this gen 4 more times. It just says there are spooky spikes coming up from the generator now, and you have to do, and like they might block you at some point. We are going to get the teleport through onto Arima right now, so remember that we did see that hook come out earlier, so an extra stage was acquired for Nightlight there, and Survivors seem to be full sending it on the generator now, so they are really looking to break this 3-gen apart, but because they are all slipstream right now, this is such a dangerous situation to be in. Another kick comes through from Nightlight is necessary there. This generator has actually been fully blocked with the regression events, but Arima goes down for it. Both these generators are so close to it. It's not blocked with regression. This is, remember what we said about unintuitive, right? Exactly my point. iPick is going to come over here, get broken up as well. X-Ice is also being actually pressured out here. Was in chase for a minute. Hardwell over in the corner now, and the Steelers could be on the brink of collapse right here. They are really just going for this one. They are giving all of their downs, they're giving all their resources, they are getting the pickup onto Arima, and they are finally able to crack that last generator. It is completed. Now Nightlight has to go for broke right now. It's going to down Arima. Can you maybe get iPick as well? Does have this time to work with, and a couple of resources within the houses as well. Is going to be taking this vault right here. Are they going to go back? Not quite. Nightlight has a fast vault though, and that's going to be fine right there. Are you guys able to get back to Arima before the pickup comes through? Not quite. We can see that the EMP was there, but the time that took meant that you couldn't actually get the pickup coming through. And now you really need to rotate this super quickly to try and get iPick off the floor. But that may or may not be likely considering how close the hook is right now.
Yeah, elimination onto Arima, the pickup not happening, but the door close by is the one that's open. Hardwell is injured, and obviously it's going to make it really tough trying to play for this pickup onto iPick, and X-Ice couldn't be there in time to help out either. Yeah, that's going to be all the fresh hooks. That is 3, 5, 6, 7 stages right now.
Yeah, this is as we said, Singularity does struggle to 4K quite often. They actually do get the save right now. X-Ice able to get that. We are trying to see the body bot come through onto iPick, see how long that can last right now. Remember that you can just kind of teleport this through as the killer, right? So you have been forced back into the center of the map. You do not have just a clear straight shot over to the exit gate right now. This is such an untenable situation for this one to be in. Teleport does come through there. You have nothing to work with. You don't have the distance. Everyone else is injured. You can't get the pickup as well. X-Ice is going to be forced out of the gate alongside Hardwell, and that is going to be iPick's, and that's going to be Nightlight, sorry, securing these two. I think that'll be ending us on 9 hook stages here, which is looking at the statistics for Singularity. That is definitely above average. So this is an above average forms that did come through from Nightlight, but it sure took a while.
You gotta hand it to, well, especially Ariandel in this position, because obviously you have to comm every time the Singularity goes onto cams. Cams. There is so much that would be going on in that VC for such a long duration, and to still get a 2-out from that scenario, I think is just probably one of the most impressive things that we've seen in a good while. Now we're going to quickly set up the second half of the Singularity set right after we take a short break.
Hello everyone, welcome back. Look, maybe after that last trial, maybe put on some Subway Surfers or Family Guy on another monitor or something like that while watching this. That being said, I am cynical, but Bubba actually having a different build here, so doesn't seem to be fully committing to a 3-gen strategy. Has the... I feel like this purple add-on is sort of base kit on the Singularity, right? Baseball glove. Yeah, the family photo. And the baseball glove is going to extend the overclock duration, so playing more for the chase, playing more probably for an early tunnel out, which seems to be at least a little bit quicker. Corrupt will generally help with that as well, slow down survivors, force them into the map a little bit more, means that you can continue to tag them up with biopods from a distance as well. Remember that the initial EMPs aren't going to be coming online quite just yet. Likely that survivors are going to have to spend some extra time to actually, you know, print them themselves, and we can see Dan's is being cleansed, so first EMPs are now coming online for the survivor side. Zaka's doing a very good job of breaking line of sight here at this small loop. But eventually, yeah, break is going to be forced right now. But even though it's a quick pallet break, this, because of that hinder, it does just sort of allow time for distance to be made, right? Zaka was in a bit of an unworkable situation there. Couldn't exactly drop the pallet because it would have just been swung through, so instead opted to run it through as well. Threading through that pallet very quickly is going to be Bubba, and we do have a friend coming in for the unhook, for the EMP as well. That's a very neatly placed biopod to catch Zaka out right now, and in a perfect world, you would be able to get the down onto Zaka here, but you are instead going to be kicking that gen, applying Dragon's Grip, and that's something that could turn the game around. It's very much a it won't work multiple times situation, but Ivan is slipstreamed as well. If they don't get rid of that before tapping this gen, then this could be a bit of a trap here for the survivors.
Oh, he's still managing to land that slipstream, sorry, onto Spitz. So they're taking advantage of the fact that obviously it's very difficult to land it through the railing. Takes very precise camera placement, and Zaka is going to be getting caught out at the main building here as Spitz uses an EMP. Ivan still slipstreamed at the moment. Is he going to get back on that Dragon's Grip gen or not? I don't think so. The cooldown's already expired. That's not going to be happening. Zaka looping the back of main building does get slipstreamed. Bubbo going for some interesting pathing here. Not being able to catch out Zaka though, who ran around the front of main. And there's the teleport through, and this should be enough to get the down. Oh, oh no.
Zaka on the moon, I guess, had dust in his boots or something. Equipped the exo boots from over. I don't know, man, but Zaka learned Vecna's fly spell real quick, but couldn't like quite do it as well. You know, that seems to be what happened there. So that is a first hook that is going to be coming out right now. So you are definitely playing to kill Zaka here, right? You have this gen up top. It is quite pressured out, and that is going to be that gen over there. So you're not going to get the Dragon's Grip trap with that one. Instead, you're going to be looking at your other generators instead to try and accomplish that. Remember that teams are still trying to figure out exactly what the best strat for Singularity is, right? And we're seeing that clash of styles come through, you know. On a kill like Doctor, everyone's kind of figured it out, maybe aside from a couple perk differences, you know, do you run a sloppy, do you run a rapid brutality instead? Here, it's very much the clash of the style that works on most other killers, which is, you know, just play for your tongue out, or, you know, bring back the 3-gen strat instead. But I'm actually going to be blocking Dan, so this is going to force an exchange here. Very well played from Bubbo to get that body block up in time. Force that one there. Before, it seemed like good Survivor team could just permanently, permanently get those two-man saves with very little risk. But Killers have actually grown more accustomed to the fact that you can actually body block and work that one through. And Zaka's going to be going down instantly here. This is what you need. This is your tongue out. This is your golden goose right now. You want to try and rotate through onto Dan as well, but you're happy to get a slipstream off instead. Again, just force slowdown, force another EMP to come out. Second hook coming through onto Zaka. We have the Gallows generator pressured up just a little bit more. Ivan is going to come up to help with that and then get the heal up onto Dan as well. Top gen is going to be completed here, so we are going to be sued 2 gens flying, but Zaka is now so close to death.
And just like you said, those 2 gens, same day delivery, are getting completed as Zaka, not in the most frosty of situations, as we have 2 survivors that need to be reset, either waiting out the sloppy timer and forcing the gen progression first, and then going for the resets, EMPs, all that stuff. There is so much maintenance that you need to do to keep a survivor team healthy and in the trial, which you know, the Singularity will just absolutely play off, which is why you're always going to be seeing Sloppy Butcher being brought by Singularity. I don't think there's ever been an exception.
Yeah, of course. Your ability to get all the hits through Zaka slipstreamed up again, and that is a really... Here's the thing, there are 2 neatly placed biopods here, right? Fortunately, that is going to be Frame coming out with the EMP to
Wow.
get rid of that at the last minute. Again, the team play being phenomenal right now. But the slipstream gets back onto Zaka, and the teleport through as well. That's a life, but that's off of a high ground. You're not going to make a ton of distance off it. Overclock was used to get through that pallet nice and quickly as well. And it's going to be the slow march right now. Zaka has his pallet to work with, drops it nice and quickly. But remember, you have that baseball glove to help your overclock last just a little bit longer. You're going to be absolutely lethal in chase right now. It ends up ends up going into the wall there. That's going to be a pallet broken up. Zaka is running out of resources, hemorrhaging them as we speak. Is going to be tagged up by yet another slipstream, and now Zaka has to try and last a while in this chase. Is actually going to get psyched out. Does the hit come through? Not quite. Zaka knows the margins. Internet differential there, my favorite one of the day. But that's a fast vault that comes through. Zaka caught out up the creek without a paddle. Is on the pallet. We do see the small army of survivors that do want to get this saved right now. Ivan is going to go into the corner here. That is a down. And for the people play, I need to get Zaka off the floor, deny the timeout just a little bit longer. In the meantime, I believe Dan is the one just continuing to bully out generators here. So you are going to see another generator completed, likely, for this exchange. But again, it's all worth it for Bubbo, provided you can just kill Zaka. But right now, Zaka is proving very difficult to kill.
Eternal is putting all of their resources into keeping Zaka alive here as the chase has come back to Shaq with no pallet. It is once again another golden goose scenario like in the last game, except this is a much different, point of time in the trial. The stakes are so much different now. Zaka needs to win these 50s, and no, not a gambling man will be taking the down here as the rest of the survivors have been picked up. It's going to be a 3v1 at 2 generators remaining as these chases were being run through some of the active generators in turn for, trying to throw everything towards keeping Zaka alive. It was a very valiant effort by Eternal, and we have a gen with so much progress, but Bubba is going to start the regression on it and get a chase on Ivan right by it as well. Uh-oh.
Yeah, and because the survivors invested so much into keeping Zaka alive, look at their condition right now. 2 of them are slipstream, now 1 on account of their EMP, but they're all injured. They're running out of resources to work with. Bubbo is going to be able to get that lunge through there on account of the extra hate from the overclock mode as well. You are still able to get a generator done here. That's fair play to the survivors. They're going to be trying to get a quick heal off. I say quick, resilience is 9%, but, that saves, like, a whole second from the heal. Could always be later down the line. That's going to be the hook that comes through onto Ivan as well, as the survivors do reset over in the corner. The gen spread is really not great here for Bubbo, but that just might not matter, right? Because you're getting that early kill is so important, and plus, you can kind of control your 3 gens from any distance with your cameras, right?
Yeah, it's one thing actually being positioned in the generators itself, but being able to position yourself on a completely different side of the map and just micromanage 2 different things at once. Survivor on hook, survivors on gens, and just, go back and forth between the both. And here, we're seeing a chase onto Dan, but Bubbo is so much more interested about what Spitz doing at the moment, as we still have Ivan hooked in the basement. Spitz, I believe, was walking towards that shack to try and go for the rescue at some point, but Bubbo's going to be locking it down and trying to delay it as much as possible.
Recall that you have the no-ed here as well as your Bubbo, and you know about this, and the fact that you got a kill before even using no-ed is a really big deal, right? You now have pretty good information on where Dan is. You're able to slipstream them as well. You're just constantly concerned about Spitz, right? Could just kind of appear any time, but with that second stage coming through, you're actually going to be more than happy to commit here. Actually just gets a clean hit onto Dan as well there. That's just some very good fundamental gameplay. Bubbo now going to be returning to the basement. Recognize that Bubbo is going to be coming in here. Now you start your little mental countdown. You start your little body blocks in mind games. 10 seconds, but you're not able to outlast that. Spitz is able to get in the killer's face all up in his business and force that hit through as well. So Ivan not going to die yet. Dan, however, might not be so lucky. Did have the sprint burst on lock to get the hell out of dodge right now. But again, how far exactly can you travel when you just have this lunatic this raving loony of that is Bubbo constantly hounding you down on the Singularity. Another hook that's going to be coming through. Spitz and Ivan are going to be forced to reset this one here unless they have miraculously two-man the gen on the other side of the map, which I do say that no one has checked over on that side of the map in quite a long time.
And I think now that you mentioned that, Bubba's going to be hearing exactly what you just said and going over and checking.
The money has been went into my account.
Check your PayPal, and the funds should be there. Not much progress on that gen, regardless. But we did have
well met, Ariandel. Well met.
Ivan was in position for that gen though, and was pre-stealthing it as we were getting this hook onto Dan. This is our big ticket item though. This gen has so much progress in comparison to everything else, and Bubbo was able to get Dan hooked right next to it as well. So looking around for the reset, trying to see where Ivan and Spitz are right now, but whether they go for the resets, yeah, we do see the reset onto Spitz actually.
Yeah, probably just going to be in like the very far corner of the map, right? Trying to find some place away from the watchful eye of Bubba right now. This means that Dan is going to be hitting second stage, and suddenly you'll have two survivors dead on hook. This can mean that Spitz can then go on the hook, and if Noed is there, Spitz can just be camped to death, and that would be the 3 stages. You would get 10 in total, and you would have your win, right? That is, of course, assuming that the survivors are able to complete the last generator, but Bubbo kind of wants to eliminate all kind of hope or possibility that these survivors could ever, you know, have that chance, right? So instead, you're just going to be happy to go over here where you think that Ivan is in this corner, but you actually don't care. Dan is greeting that generator. We're going to see whether that's a decision that pays off here, as you do have this pallet to work with. Not going to be working. Does Dan have any kind of anti-tunnel perks or anything like? No decisive. I don't even think that's allowed against Singularity. So Dan just feeds the kill over. I mean, you're a clever fella, Spoker. Do you have any idea what happened there? Maybe what Dan's idea was? It was a very risky position to put yourself in.
Well, Spitz and Ivan were both positioned on the complete other side of the map after they did their resets, with Ivan trying to pressure the further gen, and there's a tag onto Ivan as well, not being able to pre-drop the pallet in time. But the progress you can see here, Ivan has done a good number on that gen, with Spitz greeting this gen over here as well. I think Dan just got a bit caught out by the camera that has line of sight through the window. Really nice drop by Spitz there as he manages to take the chase over towards main. And Ivan is going to be actively working that gen in the background, and Bubbo knows it. Just needs to get this tag off the Spitz, and then we can go back and pressure onto Ivan. And does get the TP off onto Spitz. I think even just by going for Spitz there and forcing the elimination, that would have been win con met. But we're going for more. We want this 4K against Eternal, and Bubbo, I think, is going to be able to get it.
Yeah, that's the TP that is going to be coming through, and now the pressure is going to be unrelenting, getting onto Spitz. You have a drop pallet here to work with, and he's going a little wild there, but threads the needle there perfectly, gets it right in the eye, and Spitz is just going to be still just dodging, diving for a little bit longer. You have this overclock mode. You can force the break at any point here as Bubbo, right? However, Bubbo is simply built different and will therefore opt to not do that instead. Hello. I think Spitz kind of realizes, okay, it might in fact be Jova. It took us a minute.
Wow.
I do believe that we've been playing this one set of Singularity out for about an hour now.
No,
about an hour. I swear, the last match took like 2.5 hours in total for 5 sets, and that was one set here which took 5 hours. So sorry, not 5 hours, Christ, no, but still, one set here. 5 hours, I mean, it could feel like it to some, right? But no, 1 hour here. I guess, I mean, we saw the idea about that strategy. Singularity is one of the best 3-gen kills in the game. Bubbo kind of went with just the fundamental, okay, well, there's my funnel out. Bringing the Noed and actually getting every kill before the 5-gen mark is spectacular. Again, like, it is so unlikely for you to even get your 4K on the Singularity, right? And to do it before every generator is completed, phenomenal result here from Bubbo. So, Ariandel, wow, this just yet. They're going 1 for 1.
And with the Dragon's Grip as well. You can't forget that the Dragon's Grip that never actually came into play. It's literally just corrupted sloppy. That's all you need with Bubba's Singularity. Ariandel taking the set win of Eternal's pick of Killer, making it 1-1 in this best of 5. Things are going to spice up with the Cenobite once again on Dead Dog after a quick break. Now, to quote our producer Rats, here we go again. We're back on the Dead Dog Saloon. How we doing, legends?
Oh, yeah.
Spokermann and Edgar bringing it back to you as we see Bubbo on the Cenobite, looking around for this box off rip, getting an idea for where the survivors spawn. We see some crows resting around here, though. I think survivors have rotated through main, and we're instead going to be opting to take this chase at main.
Interestingly enough here, Bubbo doesn't actually manage to grab the box early. Dan's able to pick it up before Bubbo's able to get it and then start the chain up for the early game pressure, right? You'd love to, in a perfect world, you cancel this one up. Is that going to be possible? No, not quite. No, the fence. It happened to us all. So this is already a really rough early game for Bubbo. A lot of the, again, as I was saying, and then probably Curse earlier, we don't see Cenobites failing to find the box initially, right? In this case, the Eternal Survivors were just on it a lot quicker, right? Now, that being said, Dan is being punished for it, figuratively and literally. That is kind of Pinhead's entire deal, right? He's going to be chained up here. Vault does come through, but we do have Zaka in for the body block as well, so that's a nice hit tank. Is going to proc a little bit more of the rapid brutality, so this is going to give the opportunity for Bubbo to continue to apply the pressure in the chase right now. Unfortunately, every single chain being broken there and not going to be re-hit by that impaling water add-on. That's a really nice hit around the corner, though. That's going to be a nice down. You do get a generator for this, and everyone is going to be, you know, healing up Spitz, the main man himself. That's your first hook, and you're pretty happy with that as the Cenobite, considering the fact you didn't actually get that box initially.
Yeah, 1 gen for 1 hook, starting things off. A little bit concerning, sorry, for Bubbo, considering that, like, you know, we haven't been able to get the hook in the most favorable location with, you know, the gen split that we're seeing. We do have the Gala gen and main gen that we can obviously pressure and still have eyes on the hook, but I think we also have this house gen that we need to worry about as well. And yeah, we do see Nightlight was working on that one and drops down and has to deal with the impaling wire. Look at all those chains.
Oh my god. Some people that would be an absolute nightmare, but for Bubbo right now, that is heavenly. Divine even right now is going to get Nightlight. Tries to knock him down the corner of the map, and Nightlight has a bit too much wherewithal. That is going to go back to the houses, and it's actually going to be Dan in the corner here. Oh, hey, yo, okay then. We are going to be seeing that hit come through. Nice chains on the corner through onto Dan right there. And now we're forcing Dan into a little bit of a predicament right now. You have that not particularly strong power to play around. You are going to be able to... Actually, I'd say you get to the one on the stairs, but there aren't any right there. Are you going to be able to make it over to the water tower pallet? No, you're not right now. And oh my god, that is one of the most horrific things I've ever seen.
I don't think I've ever seen the spectator of a Cenobite like that. But
original pain, fellas. Oh my god.
That looks like the kind of guy that would show me a world of pain and pleasure, you know?
And then some. Christ almighty. Dan is going to be shown a little bit of that pain that we've been referencing this whole time. Is going to be going onto the hook in the basement there as well. In a perfect world, you're next to... How is Bubbo hitting these? Bro has the FPS aim on the Cenobite, apparently. You know, some would argue that in terms of mechanics, of course, they're not the most mechanically demanding game on the market, but you could argue that the difference between a good and great Cenobite is being able to hit those kinds of chains, right? It really does require a good level of, you know, muscle memory and flick aim, but then also reaction time as well, you know, because you get suddenly transported into another spot and you have barely any time to try and react to the survive movement and chain them up before they're able to get away, right? Right now, however, you are going to be using a chain to harass from a distance, which is going to be a reasonable method of slowdown to get down to, at the very least, the second stage. Likely not all the 9 yards, likely not the whole 9 yards, but still, another stage is going to be pretty good here for Bubbo, especially because the survivors still have not quite been able to make a good dent in the generators. As I say that, Caster Curse comes through. Main building gen is completed. But Dan does go second stage for it.
Wow. It's so impressive seeing how well Bubba has been landing all of these chain snipes, and you got to really take into account how limited the mobility is of actually controlling the chain. It's more so about placing, you know, where exactly you've put down your power, and you can even see how finicky it is. Yeah, I feel your pain, Bubba. I feel your pain, brother.
Yeah, it seems like Bo just wants Dan dead right now. Right. The thing is that this works a little bit better on Cenobite than some other kills because the survivors can't necessarily just press gens the entire time. Someone has to eventually go grab and solve the box. Right. In this case, that was Nightlight that we saw earlier, who was able to bully that one out. Chains up on the high ground right now. A lot of them are going to snap when you fall off of the gallows. Dan does end up falling. So that gallows gen so progressed, but not actually completed yet. We're going to be seeing if Zaka wants to take this chase into the main build. Yeah, you can already see another survivor has rotated up here to finish that. I feel like, yeah, okay, I thought it was 2. Never mind, I might have schizophrenia. Spitz is going to be the one taking chase now on the very corner and wants to run it away from the actively worked on generators right now. Even in a 3v1 scenario, Eternal looking pretty dominant. They're looking in a good spot. The gallows gen still could just fold at any second now. Nightlight is going to be pressuring that gen over by the houses in the corner side of the map too. And Bubbo would have all of the gens located in one corner, but it's not... Actually, no. Okay, never mind. I'm spreading misinformation. No, there would not be a 3-gen in the slightest for Bubbo to really work with.
No, Eternal have really split up these gens super, super well from the get-go, and Eternal have been absolutely notorious for their 3v1 gameplay, and I think that's exactly what we're going to be seeing in this game. We're getting box solved, we have generator number 4 basically completed, and we have so much pressure on Gallows that Bubbo has been just forced to stay in this part of the map and try and maybe spot out someone stealthing in to work on the Gallows as soon as a chase happens. This is gen number 4 that's going to be completed, and even number 5 has progress from Spitz. Nightlight just needs to pressure this Gallows gen, and the survivors should be able to get all gens done.
You have pressure literally everywhere right now. You have 3 people on 3 gens, and only 2 of them need to go, right? Bubbo has brought Noed along. That is going to be the X factor here to see how many extra agents to keep. We have seen, you know, 2 or 3 stage games suddenly become like an 8 or 9 stage just because of the shock of Noed. That's going to be a big firecracker that does come out to, you know, force Bubbo to look up at the pretty sky. It is, I mean, it seems like high noon in the Dead Dog Saloon or something similar, I suppose. Nightlight is going to be running away in building now, and yeah, this gen is just going to be doubled up, and you're fine to go down here if you're Nightlight. You'll expose the Noed, and you also aren't going to give excess value over to it. They are just going to play it safe right now, as the invite, with all of the chains. You go for a cheeky little crouch there, doesn't do anything, however. We also do get into the end game right now. That box does need to be solved, so this could be an issue if... But no, yeah, Zaka recognizes that you want to get rid of the Noed, but it's so close to the hook, and this is what we're talking about. Eternal's RNG with Noed is literally horrific, right? Those are going to be the chains that are coming through. Is it enough? Doesn't quite seem it. Zaka's going to be able to take the escape right here. So Dan dead with 3 stages. Nightlight going to have 3 stages, 1 onto Zaka. 7 hook stages for the Cenobite over here. If we compare that to our stats, which have been worked on by Toby or Imitatia, phenomenal job, by the way, getting all that information to you, so we have to give a huge thanks over to her. We do see an average of 10 hook stages per Cenobite game, right? 4K is 55% of the time, so this is certainly a bit of a lacking performance from Bubbo, right? So now it's really on the Ariandel survivors to try and pull some kind of miracle out. The game is firmly in Eternal's hands. It's likely going to be Zaka. Well, it almost certainly will be Zaka on the Cenobite. So we're going to be seeing to a quick break to set up that Eternal on the killer side. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be back shortly. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Right now it is Eternal versus Ariandel, 1-1 up in this set, but I feel like it's fair to say that Eternal are in a pretty dominant position. They had some phenomenal Survivor gameplay that did come out last time, and Zaka, we see the big difference here. Zaka is going to be grabbing that box instantly, right? Fun fact, I actually, very fun random fact, I actually own a Lament configuration because I am a huge dork. It cost me 30 smackers, that did. It is so worth it, but the last time I used it, a bunch of demons came into my room and did unspeakable things. So, you know, it's give and take. Zaka is going to be finding that nice and early and going to be snowballing it into a chase onto Bubbo as well. Excise is there to deal with it, and that's a swing and a miss, but eventually distance is bought. The impaling wire does come in clutch, buys just enough distance for Zaka to get that. Nice dodge through by Bubbo as well. Means that Zaka is going to have a bit of an interesting time playing. This Shack is going to just go for the pallet break and then likely try and get a long-range hit through. But you can already see the rotation from Excise here for that body block. Actually, not even for the body block, but just breaking the chains. Team play can be so unbelievably effective against a pinhead.
Exactly right. Just having someone on that sort of support role, especially in the early game where the first chase matters the absolute most, because if your first chase is not long enough, then you're not going to be getting that early game gen pressure. Bubbo getting a little greedy here, not going to be able to make it to that next pallet. No sir, that pickup is going to happen well off the pallet, and this first hook is going to be at a nice pace for Zaka. We might be able to pain res main before it gets completed. We can hear it so close to being done, and there goes the pain res right in the nick of time.
Yeah, and you actually get the chain off at the perfect time to, like, briefly stop the regression. Okay, I may have made a bigger deal out of it than I thought.
The way your voice died just there.
I thought the regression could have gone back further, but it didn't. You actually end up missing that chain, so pressure is going to come out. Zaka isn't going to be able to do anything about this gen. Like, it is going to pop in his face. You're able to briefly delay it a little bit. Right now, it seems like Zaka wants to just count this one out. At the very least, get over to stage 2, right? Or is, never mind, actually going to be rotating over to top side here to pressure out this generator. And, I mean, I feel like you know that the other side is going to be positioned during gens on the other side of the map, and you can always drop from that generator right back down to the hook, right? And yeah, that's exactly what you're going to be doing. This is a really good position. Really nice heads-up play there. It's a small thing from Zaka, but now, yeah, so yes, now you are going to potentially have Arima or Excise rotating to that topside gen, but you're able to get a nice exchange onto hardware for it as well, plus stop that extra gen from being completed right now, being a bit of an odd point of view, and that is the use of the original pain. It gets rid of the endurance states effect. Bubbo now going to go over to the second stage. You would also maybe be able to get a hook onto Hardwell here, and then you have 2 for the price of 1.
It's a 2-for-1 special here. And now the question is,
Saloon, 2 for 1.
are we gonna get a pain res? No, this isn't a pain res hook on the corner of main there, but we do have info on a survivor near this gen here, and we see Excise working the main building gens. We know where everyone is right now. We have 2 hooks right next to this gen, and Excise is just going to be continuously pushed back by these chains as Arima sneaks in and gets the save. It gets forced into a trade. Oh my goodness.
Oh no, things go from bad to worse for the Ariandel survivors right now. They are struggling. This is a dominant position for Zaka to be in so early into the game as well. Yeah, 3 gens have popped, so we are technically in the mid game, but these hook stages have flown so quickly. You could still class this as the early game. Arima's on the floor. Hardwell's about to hit second stage. Bubbo is injured. Excise is the only one who can do a damn thing right now, and is going to have to devote time to resetting Bubbo before doing anything realistically. This is a awful situation for the Survivor side to have to be in. Hardwell's going to hit second stage, and suddenly you have not 1 potential tunnel out target, but 2 tunnel out targets. And how's your gen progress to show for it? Not even all that effective, right?
And I think after getting that second stage, that's Hardwell. Yeah, no, that's okay. I think I don't know if we pain res Arima or not already, but if not, there it is. We do get the pain res. Obviously, Arima is fresh, so we have the pain res available. Trying to go for that snipe, but not quite being able to land it. That would have been insane for Zaka to be able to close the distance onto Hardwell and just get an elimination so early on. but well played by Hardwell to dodge that one out. Oh, that's a chain placement of all time. Oh my goodness.
Top 10
And
chains,
easily.
number 1. This. That is going to be... Yeah, it's going to be Bubbo who's taking that. That seems like... I'm not sure if that was an active choice there. Bubbo is dead on hook. Now, is positioned in a decent side of the map, has resources to work with, and is able to dodge up that chain as well. But unfortunately, we've seen this twice now from Bubbo getting a little too greedy in the chase, like not quite taking the voltage on the pallet when they probably should have, seeing I can get a little more distance out of this. And Zaka has absolutely no respect for the lad. That's going to be a kill now. We are now on 6 hook stages. You need 2 more hook stages to secure the win here for Zaka and the rest of the Eternal side. And I genuinely think that you're going to get these kills before you can even get the you're going to get these kills before all of the gens are going to pop. I think this is very possible for Zaka right now, especially because you have not quite a 3-gen, but you do have 3 generators which are located all over on this house's side of the map.
Yeah, no, I think Zaka's in a really cozy position to meet the win con for Eternal here and take a second set point. But you know what they always say, Edgar? Always jiggy. And that's exactly what Bubbo went for, but unfortunately it wasn't meant to be. But now the chase is going to be going on to Excise here, though. Greedy, and the box is actually right next to us here as well. I just heard it on our left. And Excise dodges out the chain. Oy,
yeah,
oy, oy.
and... But does Zaka know about the box? Does Zaka even give a damn about the box? You have instead a killable target right now in front of you. 3 more hook stages would in fact just win you the set. In fact, even 2 more I reckon would just win you the set, right?
Oh.
Counting is difficult sometimes, yeah. But Exile's going to be dodging again, delaying the inevitable for a bit longer. Arima and Hardwell are going to spend more time on these generators for the time being. You're able to get the vault down there. Bamboozle is here from the Cenobite as well, so is going to maybe make that chase a little bit faster. Means that Excise is going to be forced into a rougher position even quicker. Is going to be chained up on the pallet. Opts to drop it, but still has 2 things to remove. Nothing you can do about that one, right?
Yeah, no, Zaka's going to be really, really happy that we managed to get Excise here. Ooh, we saw, I think that was Arima trying to come in and do something cheeky, maybe with a firecracker. Not too sure, but 1 gen remaining, and we're just now getting our 7th hook stage of the game. But this is 4 fresh hooks, so I think this is win con met for Zaka right now for Team Eternal, who will be taking the 2nd set point over Ariandel right now. But you really have to admit just how hard fought these matches have been. These 2 teams are fighting at such a similar caliber and level of skill. It's genuinely insane to watch.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a commanding position for Zaka to be in, and, like, it's very realistic that you just get, like, a single extra. Never mind, actually, no, has actually hit the 7 hook stages. Counting, I apologize, Cole. Counting is really difficult for a simple-minded Brit like myself. Obviously, Australian's very intelligent or something like that. What was it you said that you were running on? Energy drinks and alcohol right now? That seems pretty real for that one.
Legal reasons, that's a joke. Mind you.
We are joking, we promise. We are nice and professional on the stream. No, we are not inebriated right now. That'll be after the stream, because we'll need to, you know, that'll be after the stream. We'll need to kind of forget about, we'll need to kind of forget about the Singularity matchup that we saw a few hours ago, right? But that's after, right? Zaka is going to secure this and decisively win out this set right now with another hook stage through onto Arima right there. And yeah, so it was Zaka winning this one out. You still have an extra pain resonance, but it's not really going to matter right now. For Zaka, there is technical potential that now you just kind of stand in the corner and kiss a wall for the rest of the matchup, but you don't want that. You still want to play this out. This is still valuable experience, valuable practice time. You get Excise down as well, and you know roughly where Hardwell is as well. You know exactly where Hardwell is right now. Hardwell has run into a bunch of boxes, right? And you have him locked up at this small loop right now.
Oh, wow.
You're going to be securing the 4K. Cenobite, you 4K about 55% of the time. So it's slightly more common, not, but it's still But it is still a pretty good shout if you're able to do that. And of course, 12 hook stages definitely massively beats out the average of 10 per match as well. It's what we expect, just high class, pure strong play from Zaka. What else could we expect? That's going to be Eternal going 2-1 up in our series. Remember, Ariandel were the ones to hand Eternal their first regular season loss, and it wasn't even close earlier in the season. Eternal are coming back with a vengeance right now. Remember, you cannot count them out under any circumstances, right?
Oh, absolutely not. They are an absolute force to be reckoned with. Excise crawled quite close to the hatch there. Venzak obviously was in position to get that shot. I always love pointing this out. It's so noticeable. I think we've noticed a lot this season as well. Teams losing their own pick of killer and winning the other team's pick of killer. This is exactly what we're seeing in this matchup right now, as Eternal have won both of Ariandel's pick of killers. But Ariandel won Eternal's pick of killer. What is going on?
And now we have the Blight, and we do know that it's going to be... I want to say, is Bubbo the Blight player for Ariandel?
So.
Yeah, so Bubbo the Blight player, and Nightlight going to be the Blight player for Eternal on the other side as well. That's like a epic rap battles of history moment, you know? Who wins? We'll decide. We'll see, won't we? Because we are going to be sending over to a quick break, and then it's going to be battle of some of the world's best Blight players. So I think that of all of the things to be interested in, that'd be something pretty good. It is match point as well. Stakes are high now. No room for error from either of these sides. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be back shortly.
Welcome back, legends. This time to the Suffocation Pit. We get a nice change in scenery as we go into our Blight set with Nightlight on the Blight for Team Eternal at a 2-1 set advantage right now, as Undying being cleansed off rip, and Ruin also spawning inside of the corrupt gens as well on top of the main side. This is quite unfortunate totem spawns, but beautiful stun from Burrow to kick things off as this chase will continue in the corrupt part of the map, and the shredded notes value coming into play here.
Yeah, that's honestly an add-on that we don't see all that often. It's generally just going to be Blighted Crow, Blighted Wrap, just so you get faster and faster every single rush. But we still have the Blighted Crow for that increased speed, 3% every single rush, but also you get your power back just marginally quicker as well. It's about 1/3 of a second per token, but with 5 tokens, that certainly adds up. You see Nightlight is going to have the power back now at this loop. Is it going to work out for you? Not quite, because Bubbo just broke the man's ankles.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Nightlight went for a 3-pointer, but did not go through as we get this chase continuing over to this very unsafe filler over at main, but Bubbo makes the window and vaults it back. Wow, through the window.
You're making the best of... You're doing the best with what you can, right? And unfortunately, you can't do anything about that one, right? Nightlight was just on you like white on rice there, brother. There was nothing you could have done to avoid that one, but you made a lot out of a little, right? You're able to use an unsafe pallet in a window. And here's the thing, you don't even drop the pallet either. So that is a great success. Unfortunately, first gen still hasn't been completed for the survivors, which is not ideal considering the strength of the chase that Bubbo went through there. There is Ruin, which is still up. We are going to see where the survivors really want to pressure this one out. Again, oftentimes we see that early on in the match, survivors will ignore it, but when it gets down to a 3v1, it can just be brutal, right? No respect for Bubbo there. He's going to end up battering them with the beating stick, and again, you get the power back even faster. Bubbo now in a really rough spot, and the people not able to come in from hard rock in time. Bubbo is going to go back on a hook. We finally do have 2 generators pop in here. In the meantime, Nightlight going to be dragging Bubbo, kicking and screaming over to the hook right now in this high ground position as well. So going to make save a little bit trickier too.
Ooh, and looking at these gens here as well, do we have... We have the very sort of basic 3-gen split across the top of main, but on a killer like Blight, with the mobility that he has, he will...
It's just a 3-gen, isn't it?
It's just another 3-gen, mate, isn't it?
Wow, that's big talk coming out from someone who eats Vegemite every day.
I'll have you know, Look, we can rant about Vegemite later. We have Nightlight forcing the elimination onto Bubbo right now. It's looking dire for Ariandel. Oh no, especially if Arima's going to be getting spotted.
Oh, yeah, that's the one who tried to rotate for that, and it just didn't work out, and Arima does go down. Arima isn't going to be the one to die here, though. The Golden Goose is Bubbo, as we know. And your exhaustion perk is overcome. This doesn't mean anything when you're already injured up, and you end up going over to the Ormond tile, getting brutalized on it, because Nightlight knows how to play like the back of his damn hand. You do, at the very least, you have an Unbreakable and Deliverance, but you're not even able to... This is Blight! This is what you can't deal with. You can't even use, your Unbreakable in time, because the chase and the kill comes out so quickly. At the very least, the Unhook meant that you do have that Deliverance prop, so you are able to get yourself off the hook very briefly. Allows everyone else to continue to working on these gens, because the issue with Ruin in the 3v1 is that it's very easy, especially as a Blight, to drag every survivor off a generator at once. Remember that regression limits don't really apply to Ruin as well. That's why it's been entering the meta so much. It's just good, solid, reliable. It's like you know, the guy that you can take home to your parents who they'll approve of, you know? Ruin, that seems to be the perk in that slot.
Yeah, no, I could agree with you there. Like trying to go for a cheeky little tech there on the boxes, but not quite being able to. Xi says, "Nuh-uh, stunned again," and off he goes to pressure some more gens.
Yeah, gonna continue to try and push them out here.
Oh.
Yeah, and that is a nice stun that is going to be coming through. Like happy to continue on here. Again, like, I wonder how much you're going to invest into that bottom generator, right? Because that isn't where your 3-gen split is. However, if you want to play for the 4K2, which given your strong start of the game isn't it totally unreasonable, you are going to have to devote some time to that bottom gen. So this is the judgment call that you have to make, and I don't think that, like, whichever decision will be made, if things don't quite work out, then they'll be held to pay for it. There's no easy way to slice it, you know? Either you play safe here, play for your 4K1, and maybe you'll get it, but then that results in a tie, because that's quite a common tie condition on the Blight as well. Or, even better, or even worse, you try and pressure out the bottom side generator as well, allow the top side one to get completed, lose every gen. It's a lot of pressure to put, right? That being said, Nightlight doesn't have an issue with the pressure, but that's going through the stun, forces the pallet break there. You can try and make a little bit of distance right now as Excised, and you are going to successfully do that. Hardroad tried to bully out around Nightlight's nose, but not going to be happening instead. Going to be eating an injury for the blatant disrespect there.
I really like how X-Nice has been playing up at the top side of the map here, being around to actively pressure that gen that had so much progress and not letting it get lost to Ruin, as the gen on the other side of the map is going to be getting completed. Arima and Hardwell are going to be getting these resets out as X-Nice's stealth spot has been discovered. The M1 comes through, and follow up with the power should be able to get the down here if Nightlight logics it correctly, and there it is!
Oh my god! What did they put in Nightlight cereal this morning? Like, Adderall? Anabolic steroids? I don't know, but it clearly, whatever it is, it's working very well right now. Able to, it can be so, oddly enough, areas of the map like that where there's just a lot of clutter, you know, debris, minecart, trees to deal with, those can really be super awkward for a Blight to deal with, you know? Nightlight just kind of vaguely ran into the corner of the map there, and was able to come out of that with a hit somehow. I mean, again, I'm almost more... This is going to sound odd, but I'm almost more impressed by something like that than just, you know, fundamentally playing your loops, because essentially you'll just metagame that down to exactly where you need to be on any given loop. That you'll bump Shack at this spot, and then the survivors will basically be zoned out, right? Or you can play this tile this certain way. When you're just in the corner of the map, bouncing like a damn pinball, and you end up getting a hit through anyway, it's just like, oh my god, that's just really good mechanics, good knowledge, good reaction time, fun stuff, and you're going to be rewarded for it with a corner hook within the top side of your 3-gen split as well. Also next to the Ruin totem, so that's not going to be cleansed anytime soon. Hardwell's dead right next to the unhook. Where is Arima in all of this situation right now? What is my man up to?
Oh, is Arima going to get spotted here? Nightlight knows that Arima is coming in for the rotate, for the unhook. Arima stealthing behind the tree. It's like all those memes of people standing behind a tree and it's really easy to see them, but in reality...
If I can't see him, he can't see me, right?
Oh my goodness. The problem is, though, Edgar, even though Arima is going to be getting spotted now, though, if Arima wasn't to get spotted, Nightlight could still just hold Arima in that position. Excise just dies on the hook and can't get rescued, and this will result in the 4K1.
Yeah, and Arima's also going to go down.
The insta-lunge, dude.
Dude, insta-lunge, it's like that minecart didn't exist. It was made of butter, made of Vegemite, whatever would make you happy, Spokermann. But Excise is going to be dying on the hook there. Hardwell locked up in the corner, going to be hooked out as well. Nightlight achieving the 4K1 there. Pretty standard stuff on the Blight. A pretty strong performance. Oddly enough, Blight hasn't seen a ton of play here in DBDL, so we have limited stats to work with. Oddly enough, the 4K only comes out 50% of the time, so this definitely puts this performance here on the above average side. Average of 9 hook stages a game. Of course, that's going to be vastly improved from 9. Average generators a game is 4.1, however. So you can see that the stats are a little bit skewed there. So the 4K1 does seem like a pretty workable tie condition.
Ooh, I think Nightlight is expecting Hardwell to maybe have been crawling over towards the hatch. Sees that there's no adrenaline, and I think Hardwell is doing the wholesome thing and waiting on a pallet and letting the pros kick in to sort of give that position away. So eventually Nightlight will get around and find where Hardwell is at the moment. But 4K1, I'd still say, is a very respectable result, considering that the 3-gen up on the top side would have been kind of difficult to hold. Even though we had the Ruin Totem right in the heart of it, it's probably best case scenario with the setup that you were given. But Nightlight played it absolutely to a T and managed to get that 4K1 locked in and confirmed, setting a very clear win con for the survivors of Eternal in the second half of this set, because they are obviously playing for the win here. This is the match point for Eternal if they are to, you know, perform a little better on the survivor side. But really well played by Ariandel as well. And with all that being said and done, we have the second half of this Blight set to set up, so we'll catch you all after a quick break.
Bobo is cooking a little bit here. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, it is very clear that Ariandel have their backs against the wall, and they need to pull out some kind of miracle. And Bobo has definitely a bit of a different build than what we are used to. Corrupt is, of course, just, you know, the love of every player's life at this point. I think we saw a single trial here today without Corrupt being bought. That seems to be base kit generally. But Bobo's actually struggling to find a survivor nice and early. Tell me a little bit about the rest of the build here, if you could, Spoker.
Oh, Spitz! Yeah, so we do see Call of Brian Eruption, as well as Dying Light being a more traditional slowdown for Blight, and Corrupt, obviously, basically base kit at this point. The Dying Light makes sense. The Eruption Call of Brian is different. It's Bobo's obviously going to want to play for some sort of setup, and seeing how barren the shack side is when it comes to generators and our resources as well. It's a very bad 4 split on the top side. Nice life by Spitz, by the way, managing to get another loot out of this filler. Bobo messing up the pump logic, but Spitz messing up the pathing. Will be a down on the shack side. The 3-gen on shack side is actually stronger than whatever is on main side, so this is not that bad for Bobo.
It's also important to remember that shack side of this map is a lot sparser than the top side, right? With top side, you have main building to work with, you have quite a lot of fillers, and you can connect yourself into those, you know, tiles in the middle as well. On the bottom side, you have shack, but right now that's where the hook is, so that's not great. You have shack and then some fillers, and then I think maybe one tile just a little bit above shack. It's sparse, and it's mostly, as we say, just filler parts, which you can just get rid of, blast through. So this is going to be pretty rough here. But we're actually willing to leave this side, because, yeah, you have found 2 survivors here. This is some good pressure. You're going to force them all out for a little bit. And there's also going to be a little bit of bullying. But I don't even think Bubbo was physically aware that that pallet existed before it was dunked on him, and then just didn't respect the flashlight. Like, oh, you're trying to blind me? What if I just said no? You cannot legally blind me without my consent. So that works there for Bubbo. You are also going to be getting your dying light up just a little bit. This is all going to slowly accumulate. I believe it's about 3% for every hook that you get on non-obsession as well. Initially, that doesn't seem like a lot, but as you get more and more stages, that's going to be a little bit more. Ivan actually dodging very well there, but eventually tagged up. Every survivor's injured now. This is going to force the reset and force these gens to slow down to a crawl.
Yeah, I don't really think this is as good of a start for... Oh, Ivan. Oh, Ivan, please tell me that you're at least on the pallet. That whoever's playing for the pallet save gets it, but no! Zaka can't get that pallet save. Bubbo waited out that point text so perfectly that Ivan sort of flipped off the pallet there and is now going to be getting hooked in the heart of these gens once again. The resets had to have come through, so the slowdown on the actual objective has been quite painful for Eternal, and as the dying light starts to build up as well, it could get into a really, really bad position for Eternal, as Zaka is going to be getting spotted at trying to go for the rotate as well. No crouch tech for Zaka, takes a tag and has to run to the pallet gym with the dropped pallet. But I think Bobo is just going to be going back to the hook and pressuring, I believe, Dan going for that save.
Yeah, Dan is the Belligerent Survive, so he's going to proc that as well. Has the Will Make It too. So the designated initial unhooker. And Resurgence too. So Ivan is going to be a little happier here. Not going to be quite as worse for wear. Remember that we have seen 2 hook stages come out, but they are split between the survivors, right? And remember that the main priority is your gens, and if you have 4 survivors in the game, gens are just going to fly, right? Ivan does have this drop pallet to work with, playing the check spots as best you can, eventually going to be forced out into the bottom side of the map. That's because a juicier target has been eyed up here. That gen over on the top side is going to be progressed, but again, Bubbo doesn't necessarily care about holding these gens too hard. Also needs to be careful of being dragged down here for the chase. That is the blind that does come through, but Bubbo does have a functioning set of ears, but it's actually going to be going for that swing nice and early. Means that you can drop this pallet, try and play it a little bit safer right now. If you're Zaka, and you just...
Resi.
Resilience value comes out there from Zaka. Absolutely ruthless. Forces the Bloodlust on the Blight. I do not know the last time we've seen that. You get back over to on top. Blind them mid. Blind them during the recovery as well. Zaka right now is producing more juice than a damn orange farm.
Yeah, no, and we've got Dan here to take the hit as well. Zaka going for the preemptive crouch. Should be able to make it, but the shredded notes, I think, no, changing chase entirely. No shredded notes being brought. That's soul chemical. I don't know what they've reworked it to, but you can use the extension that we have in the Twitch chat, or if Edgar is able to remind me.
The soul chemical, it makes your initial rush 5% faster. So, and then everything on top of that is going to stack up there. That seems good, but then there's also the idea of, well, the standard is the Blighted Crow, which is going to give you an extra 10% over the duration of all of your rushes, right? Remember the 3-gen we were talking about? That is now gone. That gen over on the other side of the map has been depleted there. And Eternal, it seemed like they're off to a rough start, but their recovery has been phenomenal. Again, Eternal have strong killer players. They have strong 1v1s. They have strong mechanics, but their team play is the main thing that I would say sets them apart from most teams, right?
Oh, exactly right. And we were mentioning this earlier as well in the campfire chat, I think. They've done such an amazing job at splitting up these gens. I believe a 2-2 split on both sides of the map. Now, that chase from Zaka going over towards the main side of the building has bought the team so much time to get that gen progress out. And I think there were some resets that needed to happen as well. We do make that vault, but the bump logic is going to be too much here for Dan as the down happens here on the matchsticks. I know some people might have called it a TL, but that is a matchstick tile. Nice quick hook onto Dan.
What? I'm sorry. I'm an old like 2017 player. What are you talking about? Let's go run Objective Obsession, guys. Anyway, Bo is gonna come down back over to this generator. Is going to be applying that Eruption Call of Brine combination. We haven't been seeing the Call of Brine get a ton of work done recently. Obviously, it's the information is only as good as the survivors working on it, especially in comparison to, say, especially in comparison to other information perks. Call of Brine is definitely on the weaker side, but you also don't have a ton of options to work with, right? So it's not even going to guarantee you that you know someone's working on that generator. Plus, the survivors are splitting up pretty well anyway. We do have an extra 9% slowdown coming through from the Dying Light as well, and does have the Deliverance as well. So it's not even like the survivors care all that much, right? You know, if as Bubbo, you're like, oh, this is great, I'm gonna count Dan to second stage, and guess what? You can't do it. Good bait that does come out from Dan, and this has bought so much time, because this is time that the killer thought was being used to, you know, pressure out Dan here, but it just wasn't. Dan as well! Dan! Box has a family! What are you doing to the lad? You are committing mental atrocities on him. War crime level threats right now. Essentially, Dan has just... I want to say Dan has won this match for Eternal.
Yeah, but as crucial as that was with Dan's part there, they were on the gens in the background while the deli bait was coming through, and all that time that Bubba committed into trying to force that second stage onto Dan. And it just gave the team all the time to get those gens done, and the final one pops, which gives the set point to Eternal, making it a 3-1 victory.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, Ariandel came out with a pretty cold performance, but you go against the fire of Eternal, they're just going to burn a little bit brighter here today. Team play was on point. They clearly experimented a little bit with the Singularity, with that 3-gen strategy. That didn't work out for them, but that set was... They were willing to give that one over, because this has shown... They have shown dominance on the rest of it right now, right? Obviously, Ariandel are not out of this just yet. They are going to have a chance in the lower bracket tomorrow against Calamity. I believe that will be happening at 6 o'clock Central European time, with Direwolf and Rayoxium hopping on the mic for that one. That is where the stakes get higher and higher. Right, in the losers bracket, as we do see some... Spitz, what are you doing, man? But yeah, that is the losers bracket match tomorrow between Calamity and Ariandel. Both teams have a lot of thinking to do, gonna have to get a good night of sleep, and then think about how they want to attack the next matchup tomorrow. In the meantime, Eternal and Elysium are going to rematch in the winners bracket next week, and... I mean, it hasn't looked good for Eternal in prior matchups, right? Clearly, you have the ability to conquer your demons from the side of Eternal, right? You're able to shelf Ariandel, get your revenge, move on throughout the tournament, nice and happy there. But against Elysium next week, you're going to have some time to think about that. But first, again, our main focus is on tomorrow's matchup. Was there anything you wanted to say before we headed out, Spokermann?
Honestly, I just wanted to say... I did not expect how long today was going to go for, and I am quite tired being on basically no sleep at 7 in the morning, but it is always an absolute treat and a privilege to get the opportunity to be able to cast for DBDLeague with a bit of Australia representation, so all my Aussies in chat.
I'm sure all four Aussies in chat are going to be very happy with you right now.
Oh, yeah.